Now, rules for travelers going to the European Union from non-member countries will be changing over the next 18 months. A new €7 visa waiver is being introduced and will cover people from 60 non-EU nations, including, of course, us here in the UK. It means that Brits going on popular holiday destinations like Spain and France are going to have to pay in advance. Our business presenter Ben Bullows has the details. There are two main changes coming in. The first is an electronic entry and exit system. The second is the European Travel Information and Authorization System, a mouthful, but it's basically a form for any non-EU passport holders to fill in and pay for before traveling. Now, the first one of those, the entry-exit system, will track where and when people enter and leave the EU. That's to make sure that you haven't stayed over the allowed 90 days in a 6-month period. We'll have fingerprints taken and a face scan for the first time, but we won't need to have passport stamped. The biggest change for most of us will be the ETAs, that's the visa waiver system. It'll be an online form requiring passport details and where you're staying plus a fee of $7 or $6, and you have to do this before you travel. The area covered doesn't include Ireland or Cyprus, though. This whole thing is a bit like the visa waiver scheme you may have used if you've been on holiday to the United States. The European Union says the entry-exit system, that's the one that needs fingerprints and face scans, should be running by this November. The ETAs form and $7 payment should then begin by the middle of next year, potentially as early as May. But don't fret, there will be a 6-month transition period at first, so you won't be refused entry if you've forgotten, but everything else is in order. However, expect that by November next year, you will need to have filled in an ETAs form and paid that €7 before you go on holiday. So the question is, what if, when all of this is fully in place, you were to turn up at an airport or ferry terminal having forgotten to complete this new requirement? From what I can see, ETAs will be a lot more user-friendly than the American ESTA. First of all, it's much cheaper, to €7 or £6. It's valid for 3 years or until your passport expires, whichever is the sooner. And crucially, the expectation is that the vast majority of holiday makers will get an ETI house issued within minutes of putting in the online application. So if you forget and you turn up at the airport and you've only got a couple of hours before your flight, it probably won't be too late. We've also been out to ask what potential travelers think about the changes. I think it's typical of the European Union, and because I voted to leave, I think now that was a mistake and we should get back in them, because otherwise those kind of things are going to happen again and again. But it won't stop me going, because you can't even get a cup of coffee for €7, so doesn't make a lot of difference. I didn't want to leave Europe anyway, so it's just an extra tax to go on holiday and explore the country and the world. So yeah, not right. I'm not agree with this tax. I think it's really unfair with the Britannic citizen. I'm from France, so sorry if my English is not perfect, but for me you should pay free. For example, I am there in your country and it's free, so why do you have to pay to come in? Mine to make no sense. Of course, the remaining specific dates still need to be confirmed by the European Union, but these changes are worth bearing in mind if you're planning a holiday next summer or perhaps a ski trip the following winter. So 2025 micrometers. I know there's a lot of detail. There is a full article on the BBC News website. If you want to have a look at that, it's on the app as well. It runs through all those key points, the key dates, and how it will affect any of us planning summer holidays to the EU next year. Thanks for watching. For more updates, like, share, subscribe and press bell icon.